everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. 2,000 point battle. My Tomb Kings versus my opponent's Warriors of Chaos. And yes, I'm playing my buddy Rathgar, and he decided to pick up a old list from, well, I say old, it was a few months back. And yeah, we battled it out, and this is a rock solid list. It's a rock solid game, and take a good look at the picture because that's the MVP of the game right there. I know, spoilers, but Lady Dispelica is now on my shit list. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see the carnage. Here's my list, and I have tweaked it yet again. I'm trying out some new units and stuff like that, but of course my characters have not changed because they're perfect. I still have 877 points, starting with my High Priest, Idametagasi. He's still my General on a Bone Dragon, level 3 Wizard with Illusion, Lore Familiar, Talisman of Protection, and the Flail of Skulls. He's perfect, like I've said many times before. Speaking of perfection, here's my High Priest, Bernice. She's still on her Skeletal Steed, level 4 Wizard with Necromancy, Warding Splint, Earthing Rod, Heretic Jar, I think I'm saying that right, and the Ruby Ring of Ruin. Last but not least is my Mortuary Priest, Baby Mage. He's my BSB with the Banner of Desert Wind, level 2 Wizard with Necromancy, and the Amulet of the Serpent. For my core, slight tweaks, 2 Tomb Swarms. My batteries are going to be my batteries. 27 Skeleton Archers with full command and warbow, so the number is just changing slightly. It's not a huge change. 8 Skeleton Horse Archers with light armor, and 7 Ushapti with an ancient and great bows. Here's where the changes take place. In Special, I'm at 316 points now because I have 2 Tomb Scorpions. I dropped one, so I can try to Stalkers again, and I gave him Ambusher. On paper, they look good. I like the Petrifying Gaze. I like the fact that they've got Halberds. They're decent. They got Swift Stride. I'm thinking I pop up behind something, charge in. They should be able to do okay. And then in Rare, I'm trying a Casket of Souls. Not so much for the Magic Missile, but for the -1 to hit bubble and the extra casting value. So, again, on paper, it looks awesome. But is it going to work? Well, you're going to find out. Here's my opponent's list, and it's my buddy Rathgar again. He's my usual opponent, which is awesome, and he's decided to play his Warriors of Chaos list. We haven't seen this one in months, honestly. He kind of abandoned it for Bretonnians and Elves, but the Call of Chaos cannot be ignored for long, and now I'm encountering it again, and it's a rock-solid list. Starting off with 811 points in characters, his Chaos Lord, who's his general, on a Chosen Chaos Chariot with the Mark of Nurgle, the Ogre Blade, the Brazen Collar, and 2 Favor of the Gods, and the Enchanting Aura, because it's a solid kit. He's also got a Sorcerer Lord, Lady Dispelica, at 336 points, and she's as dangerous as she is gorgeous. She is on her Chaos Steed with the Mark of Tzeentch, level 4 Wizard with Demonology, the Infernal Puppet, Favor of the Gods, Spell Familiar, and the Biting Blade. His core consists of 10 Chaos Knights with full command and Mark Tzeentch with the Brazen Collar on the Unit Champion and the War Banner as his standard. They've got lances, of course. Then he's got a unit of 10 Marauder Horsemen with full command, Mark Nurgle, Flails, Light Armor, Throwing Axes, and Shields. Then he's got 2 units of 5 Chaos Warhounds with Poison and Vanguard, and a Chaos Chariot with the Mark of Chaos Undivided. Last but not least, in Rare, he's got his Bruiser choice, a Warp Fire Dragon named Sebastian. God, that name is really underrated. He's a level 2 wizard with battle magic, and he's terrifying. Spells I got for this one are Idametagasi always gets Glittering Robes, Spectral Doppelganger, and Miasmic Mirage, because, yeah, it'd be stupid not to. He's got the Lore Familiar, so he's going to pick and choose. As for Bernice, she got Incantation of Desert Wind, Spiritual Vortex, Curse of Years, and Spirit Leech. And, of course, Baby Mage got Incantation of Cursed Blades and Spiritual Vortex. For my opponent, his Warpfire Dragon, Sebastian, got Oaken Shield and Arcane Urgency, while Lady Dispelica, his Sorcerer Lord, Lady, whichever, got Demonic Vigor, Demonic Familiars, the Summoning, and Blue Flame. Here's deployment, and yeah, there's not a lot of nuance to what Warriors of Chaos do, so I just kind of lined up across from them. I knew it was coming. As you can see on the left flank there, the skeleton archers, they did start on the hill, but once I realized that they were out of range of everything, I went ahead and vanguarded them up a little bit. Figure worst comes to worst, I could back them back off. Not a big deal. But at least this way they have a better chance of being in range and shooting at something. The batteries, the swarms are right behind them on the hill, and they'll just move over a little bit during my turn. Itametagasi's on the left side of the woods with the Ushapti in the woods. Not that he really has any shooting other than the Marauders, but I just like him in the woods. It makes it harder for you to charge him because, it's difficult terrain and all that, yada yada yada. I've got the Casket of Souls behind them in the woods again, just to make it a little bit harder to see them, hit them, and make sure that bubble is around so it affects the most that I possibly can throughout the fight. I know they're coming to me, so this feels like a pretty solid place for me to sit around. Next to them, of course, is Bernice with her screen, and I've got two Scorpions and some Stalkers off the table to ambush or terrors below as I see fit. Not that it's really going to affect anyone here. For my opponent's side, our left, his right, he's got his Warp Fire Dragon Sebastian, and that thing's a tank. Next to them is his big brick of 10 Marauder Horsemen, and behind them is his general on his chosen chariot. He's got a unit of dogs providing a screen for his big brick of Chaos Knights, and his sorcerer Lady Dispelica is in there with them. And on the other side of the woods is another unit of dogs providing a screen for his core chariot. That's it for deployment. Here's top one after movement, and I actually got to go first. His dogs did Vanguard up. We took the picture. We realized it afterwards. So, yeah, that's why you didn't see it in deployment. But no, we did it all right. It's fine. It's just, it's late. We're tired. And I don't need your judgment. I really don't. So anyway, Bernice and her screen move up so she can get in range to try to throw some shade at my opponent, if you will. Nothing else really moved. There was no reason to. The Ushapti are fine where they're at. Itametagasi's good. I did get light of protection off, so everybody's -1 to hit, and then I immediately proceeded to forget about the +1 to cast to all my casters. So that was awesome. Not that it really mattered a whole lot. I was able to get Desert Wind off on Bernice and Glittering Robes off on Itametagasi, which is phenomenal. But yeah, I don't realize it until like turn 5 that, oh yeah, the Casket of Souls gives me extra bonuses. So I'm dumb. Starting off the shooting phase, my archers fire at the dogs. They didn't move. They get to shoot with everything, and I'm able to kill one. Yeah, my first roll of dice for attacking really wasn't impressive at all. The horse archers shoot at the same target, and yeah, I'm able to kill one more. I do force the panic check, but I believe they pass it. Killing the dogs did open up line of sight for my Boshati to shoot at his knights, and I did, and I'm able to kill one. Really not impressed with my rolling so far. At the end of the shooting phase, I use my reserve moves to back the Bernice and her screen up and to bring my archers back onto the hill a little bit because I would like to use them to shoot at his Warp Fire Dragon when given the opportunity and not be charged so easily. Also, as you can see, I was able to get Baby Mage's Spiritual Vortex off using 3 wounds off of the Swarm to help bolster him. Not that that's going to be huge, but if anything comes forward, it will force dangerous terrains, and that's really how I like to use Vortexes. No combat, so here's bottom of turn 1 after movement. And yeah, like I said, it's Warriors of Chaos. There's not a whole lot of nuance to what they do. Everything shot forward. I expected nothing less, to be perfectly honest. His Warpfire Dragon did get Oaken Shield off. There was nothing I could do about that. He was out of range. And like I said, everything else shoots forward. His dogs come forward. His chariots come forward. His Marauder Horsemen kind of get in the way of the Knights just to screen them so that the Ushapti can't continue to pelt them, which is smart. And yeah, that's it for movement. Literally nothing else happens. Everything marched or moved or was out of range or couldn't see, so there was nothing to magic phase. So here's top of turn 2 after movement. And yeah, things are getting a little crazy because, again, Warriors of Chaos. What can you do? My Itametagasi charges into the Warfire Dragon. I know he's got the ward save. I know he's got the regen. I know he's got the armor, but I'm never going to have a better chance than I do right now to get him. I've got the Spiritual Vortex up, so he's -1 leadership. Can't use the General's leadership. If I win by 1, he's leadership 7. And I know that's the easiest thing to roll on 2d6, but I'm hoping to win by more than 1. We'll see. I'm rolling like pure butt. The archers don't move. They're on the hill, so they're going to be able to volley at pretty much anything they want. Boshati, they move back slightly. They're kind of hampered by the, what's it called? Casket of Souls. I feel a little embarrassed about that. Piss poor placement on my part. Bernice is able to summon one of the scorpions over to either use as a battery or possibly countercharge. I haven't decided yet. The other scorpion and the stalkers come up on in ambush on the back of the table, and I move them forward to threaten not only the general but the knights, and of course the scorpion on the right side there is going to threaten the chariot. I'm pretty sure he can take the chariot. We'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my movement. Oh, and one other thing, if you notice that Bernice doesn't have her spell off and Baby Mage really didn't do anything, I did get Glittering Robes off. That's great, but and Light of Protection never got dismissed, so that's nice too. But if you notice, nothing else went off because Lady Dispella is a psychopath. So we go into the shooting phase, and this is where I discover that the Chaos Gods love my opponent. And I have receipts. I have receipts. I know what you're thinking. Oh, Lord Tremendous is whining again because things aren't going his way. And you're only mostly right. But I have receipts, and I'm gonna show you. So I shot with my horse archers into his dogs and killed two. They failed their panic check and fled. That's why you see the one dog running over there. But then my archers on the hill fire at his marauder horsemen, and I roll wonderful. I get 6 wounds on them, and they've got a 5-up save, so I expect them to save 2, right? 6 wounds, need 5s. Mathematically, it should be about 2. It's not even subtle. I took a picture because he rolled the 6 saves, needing a 5, and rolled 4 6s and 2 1s. So I kill 2 of the Marauder Horsemen. 2 of the Marauder Horsemen. And he saves 4 of them with 6-up saves. The Chaos Gods are not known for being subtle, but this was a kick in the teeth. So Bernice tried to get off Spiritual Vortex or something like that in order to try to block the chariot coming in because, if they fail a dangerous terrain, it's huge. I miscast because, it's going to happen. It usually happens about once a game. And I miscast Boxcars, which would have gotten the spell off no matter what, and then she would have been done casting for the rest of this. But Itametagese's in combat. I need him to cast Spectral Doppelganger. She's got the Earthing Rod, so I re-roll it. And as you can see... Instead of rolling anything else, I roll a 9, which means not only does the spell get stopped easily by Lady Dispellica, but it also means I'm done casting for the rest of the turn. Holy crap, this is bad. We go into combat. Before we go into combat, and you can take a look at the screen, kind of figure out what happened, I want to talk about something I forgot to mention. Itametigase ate an entire Ushapti in order to cast Miasma Mirage on the Marauder Horseman, thinking to cause some sort of traffic jam. Rolled a 3. Plus 6 to cast, rolled a 3, got a 9. So yeah, I am not rolling well at all, and it's also because Lady Dispellica and her damn infernal puppet. So is what it is. Just wanted to point out that I'm not a bad caster. I'm just not a good caster either. And also, as you can see in the spell, believe it or not, even though what's her face, Bernice did miscast, she did get it off at the minimal and was able to get her spell off. So that's why you see the other Spiritual Vortex on the screen right now. So anyway, we go into combat, and Itametigase doesn't do terrible. He takes 2 wounds and is able to save 1, I think. Or he saves a bunch because, yeah, he's the man. The Warpfire Dragon, however, even at -2 to hit me, was able to get 3 wounds through or something like that, a bunch of wounds through, and I was able to save all but 2. So he has 2 and Close Order. I was able to do 1 to him. 1. He was Itametigase did good. He got a lot of wounds off. Well, with the dragon, but it came down to stops. We were just making our saves, and of course, since I couldn't cast Spectral Doppelganger, still though, I win by 1, and he fell back in good order and got away by about an inch. As you can see, I just missed catching the damn dragon. I am not rolling well. Not rolling well at all this game. But that being said, the Spiritual Vortex is what pushed it over the side. So that was really cool. It was nice to see. Okay, with that takes us over to bottom of turn 2 after movement. And not only does his Warpfire Dragon rally, but he's able to run around and get over to the side, to the flank of my Ushapti, which sucks. I'm going to shoot the hell out of him and hopefully explode him, but it's going to suck to take all that damage. I'm not looking forward to it. Other than that, his general, I think, tried to charge Inemedagasi and failed. His Marauder Horseman tried to charge into the Ushapti and failed their fear check, so they couldn't. They're marked Nurgle, so they were susceptible to it. And thanks again to the Spiritual Vortex, couldn't use a general's leadership and were at -1 leadership, so they failed that charge. The Chariot moves up, not to charge the Scorpion, but to just stop him from getting double charged by the Scorpion, so is what it is there. And then his Knights, unable to really move because the Marauder Horsemen failed their charge due to fear, they just kind of turn in place to face the Stalkers in order to try to deal with them. And his one lone dog that's fleeing continued to flee. That's it for movement. In the magic phase, Lady Dispelica does fire off Blue Flame at the Stalkers, and despite Inemedagasi's best efforts, she gets it off and does 5 friggin' wounds to them. Oh man, I'm glad I didn't have to take a leadership test, because I promise you I would have failed it and it'd have fled off the table. With no combat, we go over to top of 3, and yeah, no charges except for the Chariot, the Scorpion charging the Chariot on the right side there. Bernice did well. What's his face? Lady Dispelica is slightly out of range, so Bernice was able to cast unimpeded and got Cursiers off on the Chariot, which should make combat easier on me, and got Incantation Desert Wind off, which will help as well. On the left side there, we got Spirit Leech off on the Warp Fire Dragon. I don't know why I did that. I always forget that it only lasts until the end of my turn. So, yay, I got it off, but who friggin' cares? I was able to heal Inemedagasi's wound and bring back a couple of the Ushapti, so that's nice. They did reform to look over at the dragon. The guys on the hill turned around to look at the dragon. I've got to kill him this turn or I'm done. Other than that, the Stalkers pretty much stayed where they were at because the Knights were within 9 inches. Spoilers, they do nothing. And the Scorpion moves up 7 inches on the back there to threaten the Knights or the Marauder Horsemen, whichever presents a better target. That's really it for movement. In the shooting phase, the Boshati fire everything they have into the Warfire Dragon, and only 1 wound gets through, bringing him up to 3. I know you can't see the wounds, it's a crappy picture, but oh my god. I'm not rolling great, but my opponent is making a bunch of his saves, so it's like, come on. I need a break. And my archers do pretty well. I mean, everybody shoots at him, and 2 more wounds get through, which is huge. He's still got 1 left. And what really sucks more than anything, is I try to cast with my what's it called? Casket of Souls. I try to get the magic missile off, desperate to try to get that damn spell to go off. That's why I cast Spirit Leech, because I wanted to lower his leadership even more. I rolled too low for the spell to even possibly go off. God damn my dice. At the end of the shooting phase, we use the remaining moves, just kind of shift around a little bit. Not a big deal, not super useful. Takes us to combat, and even at -1 weapon skill, even at -1 toughness, even though my Scorpion got to go first, he was still able to save. I did 3 wounds to the Chariot, and he did 2 wounds to the Scorpion. So he has 2 wounds and close order to my 3 wounds. We are dead even and just stay there. Oh, man. I probably should have expected something like this to happen. I'm glad I didn't lose combat, but holy crap. I wish I could roll. You know what? My opponent's been rolling like crap lately, so this was a comeuppance. I'm okay. Now that I think about it, I'm fine with it. I feel like things are on that razor's edge again. So oh man, here's bottom of turn 3, and yeah, it's all over but the crying. His Warpfire Dragon charges into the Boshati. They couldn't even stand and shoot. He makes it no problem. His Marauder Horsemen charge into the Scorpion. They make it no problem. His Knights ignore the Stalkers, who are mostly useless, to move around and do whatever it is they're going to do. And his general, I think maybe his general tried to charge Ushapti as well and failed, or something along those lines, or maybe he just moved up. I don't remember. Dog stayed still, and the other one failed to rally. That's really it for movement. We go right into combat, and this one is the one that they decided to go with first, and it went pretty well. I killed 3 of his Marauders. I took 1 for my trouble. I did 3 wounds. He did a wound. He's got a banner. I win by 1, and these guys flee like boxcars. they hit the chariot, they bounce through the woods, they bounce through the spiritual vortex, they bounce through what's it called, the casket of souls, and yeah, I was not expecting them to go that far. Even with the dangerous terrains and the perils checks and all that crap, one dies, just one. Yeah, the Chaos Gods definitely favor my opponent when he's playing Warriors of Chaos. This is a sign, and he needs to listen. Speaking of listening, yeah, his chariot, even with a -1 to his weapon skill, easily put a wound through on my Scorpion and destroy it. Oh, I mean that was a pretty even fight, so I can't complain too much. But I really needed that to go my way because Bernice has one chance. Well, at least her screen has one chance to deal with him, and if they can't, he's just gonna run Ranshot over him, and there's nothing I can do. We go over to this one, and believe it or not, the Ushapti do really well. As you can see, he's got 7 combat res here because I'm making regen saves like it's going out of style because Ushapti are awesome. However, I did get some wounds through. Well, I got some wounds put on him, and he made all of his saves. So I lose this combat by 6. And I end up down to 4 guys, and we back up a couple inches. All in all, though, I got to be honest, this was a really good combat. Yes, the Warpfire Dragon absolutely should win it. Doesn't mean that I'm not frustrated about it. Okay, here's top of 4 after movement, and my Scorpion, who just ran off the Marauders, slams into the flank of the chariot. Hopefully, I'm able to kill this stupid thing off. I did get Curse of Years off on him again, so here's hoping. Yeah, that's Light of Protection goes off, which is great. And I'm a desperate mess. My stalkers move up to Care Bear stare at the damn knights. My general, I couldn't charge anything this turn because it'd be stupid. If I charge his general, that's going to be a risky fight anyway. And even if I do win, there's a really good chance that his knights could then flank charge me, which would be really, really bad. So I just kind of came around the side there to breathe hot death on them. And yeah, Bernice just tries to get out of the way of the chariot, hopes to God that the Scorpion survives and wins. And yeah, this whole thing is on a razor's edge, and I feel myself teetering. That's it for movement. To kick off the shooting phase, Intimidagacy, Badonk really, breathes hot death all over the knights, hitting partially hitting 2 of them. And I actually get one. So okay, not terrible. The horse archers fire at the remaining dogs that are just kind of beyond the combat there and kill both of them. So, point secure. Not that they were really doing anything, but it was probably best that I got rid of them. And then my skeleton archers fire off at the knights and are able to kill 3 more, which was huge. That was very needed. From there, we go into combat, and thank all the Cetras, this Scorpion was able to get that last wound through on the chariot. Oh man, did I need that. Because if he had lost, then Bernice's screen at a minimum would have been dead. Probably Bernice as well. It's just, he's such a good boy. Thank you, Mr. Scorpion. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, who knows, he's so excited about killing the chariot that he fails his restraint check and ends up overrunning into the house right there and stands still. So, not ideal, but you know what? I'll give it to him. He was able to destroy the chariot. I'm pretty proud. Unfortunately, here, things just go from bad to worse. I take 4 more wounds, dropping myself down to just these 2 remaining guys. He wins by 5. I'm Indomitable 1, and there's exactly 4 wounds left on my Ushapti. I did get another wound off on him, and he saved it. So, god damn it. The dragon overruns so that he can easily charge into either Bernice's screen or Bernice herself next turn. There's nothing I can do. Oh, that damn dragon. I had my chance, and I failed. We go over here to bottom of 4, and I feel myself fall off the razor's edge. It's not going to go well. His Lord charges into my Casket of Souls, and his Warfire Dragon charges directly into Bernice. His Martyr Horsemen rally and come over to try to deal with my, either my Skeleton Horse Archers or my Scorpion. His Knights move forward to try to deal with whatever, and leaving Lady Dispella out. She's going to deal with the Stalkers. Stalkers, or she's not worried. They have literally done nothing this game. Needing 4s and 5s to hit, they have done literally nothing, and I hate them. I want them to work. It's cool models. I got great sculpts, but unfortunately, they just suck for me. And it's part of the process, learning what works and what doesn't work for you. It's just frustrating when it happens. Other than that, though, that's it for movement and my whining for this moment. Yep, in the magic phase, she gets her blue flame off, even though Itametigacy's right there and tries to stop her. She gets it off and obliterates the entire unit of stalkers. The most useless unit on the damn table. From there, we go into combat, and yeah, the Warfire Dragon obliterates Bernice. It's not even close. It's not even fun. She had no chance. This son of a bitch has 1 wound left, and I can't get it through. It's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I kind of regret not taking one myself when I was playing Wars of Chaos, and I might when I go back. If I go back, we'll see. But oh man, this thing is just running over my army right now, and I tried so hard to kill it. He overruns into the Skeleton Horse Archers, and they just line up to follow Bernice into the sweet, sweet embrace of Chaos Death. So believe it or not, I think impact hits alone were enough to do 3 wounds to this guy, and then his Chaos Lord was easily able to swing 1 more, even at -1 to hit him. Didn't care. He was like, yeah, you're a joke, and obliterated the Casket of Souls. As you can see, everything in the area is hit by the explosion. How fucking ever! The only thing hurt by the goddamn Casket of Souls were my batteries, and they only took a couple wounds. So they're all right, but that's it. This damn thing could have been awesome, and the only thing it hurts is my fucking unit. I know. It's random. You couldn't predict it. That could happen to anyone, but it did nothing this game. Granted, I forgot about the +1 to cast pretty much the entire game. I think it was at this moment when I remembered it. But that -1 to hit, granted it's Warriors of Chaos, but that -1 to hit did nothing to help me the entire game. Oh, is this painful. So, full of spite, we go over here to top of turn 5. Oh yeah, and his general did overrun off the table. And yes, he took dangerous terrain both times. He went into the woods and made them both times, no problem. Not really a surprise. That's not a big deal. So yeah, in turn 5, Itametigacy charges knights who flee. They aren't interested in that fight at all. My Scorpion turns around to face some Marauder Horsemen just in case I get froggy, and my archers stay put because the ones that can see are going to shoot at Lady Dispella and hopefully kill her. I get Incantation of Cursed Blades off, and that is it. She stops everything else because she's Lady Dispellica, and I know I've said it 3 different ways, but it is Lady Dispellica according to the way it's spelled. So that's it for movement. In the shooting phase, the archers that could see her and were in range, I think it was like 7 or 9 shots, something like that. Believe it or not, I did get 3 wounds on her, but she saved 2 of them and took 1. So she doesn't walk away from this battle undamaged, but chances are she's going to survive to see the next day, unfortunately. We go into combat, and Sebastian raffle stomps all over the Skeleton Horse Archers. I don't remember if it's crumble checks that do it, or if he's just able to do 8 wounds to a unit that should never see combat, but yeah, they're all obliterated. There's not even dust left over when he's done beating the crap out of them. At this point in the game, though, my opponent is incredibly smart, and in order to save 435 points, he overruns like 11, 12 inches, something insane, and ends up over here, keeping him out of range of my shooting, my magic, and anything else I could possibly slip a wound through, and cost my opponent 435 points. This dragon was phenomenal this game, and taking him out of the fight and securing those points is the smartest thing he could have done. I was super frustrated. It's like, no, come closer! But my opponent's not an idiot, and he proved it right here. That takes us over here to bottom of turn 5, and the one thing worth noting is his knights failed to rally. That had nothing to do with me. He just was all that rolling high finally bit him in the ass. So he overran. He did bounce, I think, through the Marauder Horsemen, but they passed their leadership check no problem, and they end up right there in front of the Scorpion. So you can kind of see what's going to happen. His Chaos Lord pretty much stays right where he's at because he can't charge a Scorpion anymore, which I think was his original intent. And the Marauders just move around in order to try to save their points, and that's really it for movement. Actually, the entire bottom half of his turn. So, like I said, his caster, Lady Dispelica, she does try to get her spell off on Inametigasi, but he's finally feeling man enough to stop her. So we go over here to top of turn 6, and my Scorpion charges his knights. They have to flee. They go off the table, and the Scorpion, because I do not want to be charged by his general, fly off the table as well. And honestly, that's it for my movement. As you can see, my general turns to try to breathe hot death on his general. The archers on the hill turn to kind of try to put some wounds off on his caster. His sorcerer lord moved around the building there, so I really can't see her. I thought about moving the archers to try to snag her a little bit, but ended up deciding what's the point. I'm just going to shoot at his general and maybe get lucky. And I'm going to let you know right now, I don't get lucky. I don't do 1 wound to him. So here's bottom of 6 after movement, and there really nothing happens. Lady Dispelica moves up to try to take one more shot at Inametigasi just because she's an evil, twisted, well, sorcerer. That's it. There's nothing else to really say. So definitely a bit anticlimactic, but there it is. There's the end of the game. In the end, it was a pretty substantial defeat for Lord Tremendous. I got 563 out of him. He got 1,097 out of me for a difference of a little over 500 points. It was a damn, that's what, 534? So honestly, really, really good game. I'm super impressed with this army, and the Chaos Gods, I really didn't do it enough justice. He was rolling crazy good for his saves, for his stopping. Lady Dispelica is now on my nemesis list. Like, if I had a book of grudges, she'd be on the title page. So yeah, she's as gorgeous as she is obnoxious. And that warp fire dragon, damn it. So close. If I had killed that stupid dragon, it would have been closer to a draw. I think it would have been a draw. So, 1 wound was all that stood between me and defeat, and my opponent played it beautifully. But you know what? I'm already into the recap, so let's get to the proper slide, shall we? I can't say it enough. 1 wound is all that stood between me and defeat, and I just couldn't do it. And when he took the dragon and shot it across the table like he did, smartest move of the entire game. Damn, I wish my opponents were dumb. It was a great fight, though. It really was. I mean, my army really isn't for combat. I really should have got into some sort of fight. I don't know why. I'm just not super confident against things with the Ogre Blade or huge brick of knights or the counter charges. I just see every way it could go wrong, and I hide him. And I really need to stop doing that, because if it is not in combat, he's a waste of points. The Marauders failing that fear check in the middle of the game was crucial. I gotta be honest, had they made that charge, I probably would have gotten tabled. I don't know, maybe the Ushapti would have been able to handle the Marauders. It's possible. It's a lot of attacks coming from those flails, though, and they definitely would have gone first. But I just think that had they gotten in there, it would have been really, really bad. Just kind of an underwhelming start to the game, firing all those shots at the dogs just to try to get them out of the way, and only killing 2 just really kind of set the tempo, and it wasn't the tempo that I needed, especially against Warriors of Chaos. The Infernal Puppet really was a crippling effect, stopping Baby Mage and Inametigasi, stopped the Mirage from going off at one point. I mean, yeah, granted, they ended up failing their fear check anyway, but just... it's a curse. I love it. I absolutely love it. It'd be stupid not to take it if you're running Warriors of Chaos. But I hate it when it's on the table. I will be removing the Stalkers from the list. On paper, they're great. Maybe I should have charged into the Knights. Maybe I should have. But I hate them. Right now, I hate them. They just don't work. I hate the fact that I have to actually take ballistic skill negatives in a Tomb King army. I understand why. I understand that it works. I understand that it's smart. I'm not saying GW is wrong. I'm saying that I'm whining about it, and I have a captive audience, so you have to listen. The jury's still out, though, on the casket. I really underutilized this game. I forgot basically all of its rules, except for like what it could cast, and that was stupid of me. So I don't think I'm ready to write it out of the list just yet. I see the potential with it. But seeing the Warriors of Chaos across the table was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed seeing it, and I can't wait for the rematch. And now the best part of the entire report. I get to see what the Tithe of Bones increases by. So, of course, I didn't get any of the characters. Not from lack of trying, just lack of skill. In core, though, I was able to kill all of his Warhounds. So I had 10 to my list there, bringing the total up to 16. And I was also able to kill 6 out of the 10 Marauder Horsemen, bringing my total to 27, which feels good because these numbers have been stagnant for months. In Chaos Knights, got them all. So that was plus 10, bringing my total to 18, and that's not shabby. And of course, since there was no Forsaken on the table, I took my Wrath out on the Chariot and added my first one to the pyre. Oh, that feels good. In special and rare, I wasn't able to get anything in special because he didn't bring anything. And of course, the one wound that stopped me from being defeated. I'm going to get a Warp Fire Dragon on this chart one day. Mark my words. Yes, and now to gloat about all the dead Bretonnians and High Elves that I've killed over the games. I love those numbers. My Wood Elf numbers are still very impressive, probably because I run into them the most often, but I'm still very happy with it. And the unworthy Tomb Kings that were sent as a tithe are still there. My numbers in the Chaos Dwarves are still pretty decent as well. Well, my Orcs and Goblins numbers could really go up, but I don't have an Orc and Goblin opponent. If you'd like to fix that, reach out. And though I've only seen the Dark Elves once, they were none on the table, even though they looked alike. And so all these numbers stay the same, but these are the ones I'm the most proud of. But that's going to do it for this one. Another battle report in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But as always, thanks!